All right, a whole lot of headlines and more I want to get across. Who better now to get across all of that detail? Luke Grant, host of Overnights on 2GB, and James Ashby, One Nation Chief of Staff there to Pauline Hanson. Gents, welcome as always on a Friday. I always look forward to your backdrop there too, James, but I'll come to that a bit later in the show. Luke, super. It's been the biggest issue, not just the substance of the policy change, but the broken promises and this contention about franking credits, negative gearing, a tax on the home. This issue about indexation is catching people out. The train wreck of an interview from Richard Marles today, the lack of understanding, basic understanding, most of these Labor ministers being wheeled out in the last couple of days have of their own policy. Give me a sense of where you think Australians are. Has any of this cut through?
It certainly has. I've been fielding calls on this all through the week, Peter. Look, the timeline's intriguing. You talked about correctly, it was flying a kite a week or two back. But as recently as last Sunday on the project on Channel 10 of all places, Albo was on air saying, this is all hypothetical. We haven't sorted anything out. We're not close to doing anything. Then all of a sudden on Tuesday, he walks into Cabinet, they have a meeting, and here we have policy. No wonder they're not across it. This has been so poorly handled, and my listeners, who are largely, older adult Australians, they are really worried. They're worried about their own super balances, but they're worried about their kids. Because if there's no indexation, if you're a 25-year-old saying now this is going to impact older people, doesn't matter. Well, guess what? Our 3 million becomes your 1 million. Good luck with living on that, for goodness sake, in 20 or 30 years. No, it's been an absolute, it's been abysmal.
James, interestingly, last night I was driving home, I got a call from a pollster. I love it. I must be the only person in the country that happily takes calls from pollsters. And they were canvassing whether or not I wanted to see, as a voter, new coal and gas projects banned. They wanted to know what I knew about the safeguard legislation before the Parliament. And of course, Parliament's back next week. It'll be a fight in the Senate. They wanted to know whether I think businesses that are heavy emitters should be able to avail themselves of carbon offsets. This is clearly either Labor or the Greens out there trying to get some polling done before the horse trading starts on Monday.
Peter, the problem is most logical people in this country understand that we're not quite ready to transition across to these so-called renewable energy sources. We don't have redundancy in place yet to pick up the slack when the sun doesn't shine and the wind doesn't blow. And I think even people in Victoria understand that. It has to be done at a sensible pace. But let's face it here, they've got the numbers in the lower house, so I don't know why they're so super worried about the polling down there. If it's retained by the Liberal Party, it'll have no impact on Albanese being able to pass the legislation that he's crazily doing with Chris Bowen and Jim Chalmers at the present moment. So I don't understand what this polling, it really will have no impact on this next election, on the by-election, should I say. But, when you're talking about what they're doing with this superannuation, they don't want to look at indexing this cap, but they don't mind leaving indexing in on the parliamentarians' pensions. So, if they want to scrap indexing, let's scrap it off those parliamentary pensions while we're at it.
Oh, that's a big fight there. Good on you for raising that one.